Welcome to the Overlook Motel, a place where underseen and unappreciated films are given their moment in the spotlight. Today's selection has a cult fan base, but has yet to really be embraced by the masses. And that's a shame because Warlock is an undeniably good time that plays out a little like a Terminator movie infused with a hefty helping of Witchcraft. The flick benefits from an inventive script by legendary screenwriter David Toy, a cast that understands the assignment, and some quality practical effects work. The setup goes like this. Just before he is put to death for the mortal crime of witchcraft, the Warlock is rescued by the Dark Lord and spirited away from the 17th century to the present circa 1988. But witch hunter Giles Redfern is hot on the Warlock's tail. Redfern joins forces with Cassandra, the diner waitress whose home the Warlock crash lands into. Together, the duo work to stop the black magic practitioner from unleashing a special brand of evil on the world. There are a few reasons Warlock works so well. The first component is the cast. Laurie Singer is endlessly endearing in her turn as Cassandra. She's very much the archetypal character, tasked with tapping into inner strengths she didn't know she possessed to save the world, but Singer makes Cassandra interesting, endearing, and relatable. Her self-deprecating tendencies and sarcastic wit make her hard not to like. She's scripted as resourceful and reads as anything but a damsel in distress once she begins realizing her potential. Cassandra really shines in the scenes where she suffers the consequences of a nasty curse designed to age her decades at a time. As she progresses to an advanced age, Singer changes the pitch of her voice in addition to her appearance, getting into character but also having a little fun with it. Additionally, her status as an insulin-dependent diabetic affords her an unforgettable sequence involving a syringe. But I will refrain from saying any more than that so as not to spoil any surprises for first-time viewers. Richard E. Grant plays terrifically opposite Singer. His turn as Redfern leads to a couple of good chuckles. He has several fish-out-of-water moments where he says or does something unintentionally comical because he's jumped ahead in time several hundred years. When Redfern isn't busy marveling over modern inventions, he brings a genuine sense of melancholy to the role. The way he pines after his late love interest, who was naturally killed by the Warlock, reads as authentic and gives him a level of depth. It's also endearing to see Redfern and Cassandra eventually start to develop feelings for one another. The way they start out with a hostile dynamic and gradually warm to one another isn't overly original, but both leads are fully committed and their dynamic feels genuine. The late Julian Sands is also well cast as the titular character. He plays the vengeful witch void of any empathy, with a singular focus on unleashing evil and winning the favor of the Dark Lord. The Warlock is an unstoppable killing machine in the vein of the cyborg antagonist in the Terminator, which one must assume served as a source of inspiration for screenwriter David Toy. But the supernatural elements diversify the narrative enough that the film manages to stand on its own in spite of aping some of the major plot points from the James Cameron classic. In addition to a great cast and an effective screenplay, the film also features plenty of viscera. In one especially grotesque sequence, the Warlock removes Mary Warnov's eyes to use for navigation. In another gnarly exchange, the male witch bites off a man's tongue. There are plenty of great practical effects on display within. Some of the post-production effects look a little dated by today's standards, but the vast majority of the visuals still look quite impressive 35 years on from release. All in, Warlock is an underrated 80s horror movie ready to be rediscovered by modern audiences. The picture seems to be frequently overshadowed by some of its contemporaries, but that's no indication of the film's quality. The core cast is fantastic, the effects are top-notch, and the narrative plays out like a supernatural spin on the Terminator. What more could you want? If you're game to check Warlock out, you can find the picture streaming for free with ads on Tubi and Freevee as of the publication of this post. That's all for this installment of the Overlook Motel. If you'd like to chat more about underseen and underrated films, feel free to hit me up with your thoughts on Twitter, Threads, or Instagram @FunWithHorror.